Hello, everyone. Welcome. 大家好. Thanks for joining us. This is our Mandarin Blueprint Black Friday live masterclass. I'm very excited about this. Something that we're going to do something today that we've never done before and may never do again. So I'm very excited. Hope you guys are too. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here and we'll get started. So welcome. I'm just going to jump in. For those of you who don't know me or aren't as familiar with us as other people may well be, this is me. I'm Luke Neale, and this is Phil Crimmins. We are the co-founders and co-CEOs of Mandarin Blueprint. So we launched Mandarin Blueprint in 2019, and we did it to fix the broken education system once and for all. And since we started back in 2019, we've helped over 30,000 people learn Chinese with our courses. Now, we've got over 1,000 five-star reviews and many thousands of happy customers. You guys can, of course, go and search us on Trustpilot, Google, etc. And we've been doing this a long time. And until recently, we've been very happy with how much time and headache we've saved the Chinese learning community. That's you guys. But this year, we stepped up our game a little bit. Well, actually, a lot, in a big way. And we did something pretty special. So in 2025, we did something that no one else has dared to do in the language learning space. We guaranteed Mandarin fluency. 我们保证了中文流利. Not progress, not improvement. We said, we'll work with you until you reach B2 or C1 fluency. And just for those of you who aren't familiar, which I know maybe a few of you there, B2 is upper intermediate or conversational fluency. It's what pro language learners or polyglots would consider actually fluent. C1 is more advanced, more or often referred to as professional fluency. So by making this promise, we really put everything on the line here. So we knew that if this failed, it wouldn't just cost money. It would cost our reputation, everything we'd built. But the pressure that we put ourselves under forced us to refine every single step of our system until fluency became predictable. And to make that promise real, we created a new $10,000 coaching program for our most committed learners. We called it Mandarin Blueprint Elite. Now, in March 2025, we promised a small group of learners that we would work with them until they passed a third-party oral proficiency test at B2 level. Since launching Elite, we've learned more about actually what works for learning Chinese in these last few months than in the previous 10 years combined. And that's saying a lot because we've learned quite a bit. Since March, we've been constantly refining the regimen, building tools, fixing bottlenecks. In July, we opened up more spots and continued to improve everything based on feedback. And today, there were well over 100 members inside Elite. But full disclosure to all of you watching, nobody's passed the oral proficiency test yet. And that makes sense because B2 fluency is a 1,000-hour project and 2,000 or 3,000 hours with traditional methods. Almost all MB Elite members are learning part-time, 30 minutes to 2 hours a day. So of course, only, on average, maybe 100 or 200 hours in for each member. But many members have already had some impressive speaking breakthroughs in just these few short months. Let me show you some examples real quick.
哇，你的词汇量很高哦。
不是，就是因为我用 Mandarin Blueprint，所以我最近学的很多。
啊，这样。
对，
你平时最大的爱好是什么呀？
我有很多爱好，我主要的爱好是健身、学中文和读圣经。我是基督徒。
你平时有喜欢听的音乐吗？
我其实很喜欢听音乐，可是我比较喜欢没有歌词的放松音乐，因为如果有歌词的话，我会让我 like distracted。所以如果我在工作，我喜欢听那样的音乐。
早餐吃什么？
我一般不吃早餐，因为早上不太饿。可是我喜欢早上喝杯茶。
那你午饭一般吃什么呢？
我一般吃三明治、面条或者意面，我自己带午饭。我也还会吃点水果，像苹果、芒果、葡萄。
你刚刚说你有一个女朋友，你女朋友是中国人吗？
是的，她是中国的，她住在上海。
她是一个怎样的人？
她是一个很特别的人，她很积极、快乐、外向。
你大学学的什么？
我大学学的很多事情，我学的工厂管理，还有医院和医疗管理、信息系统、安全系统、经济学，我学的很多。
那您方便说一下您当时为什么去台湾吗？
我爸爸是美国军人，
哦，
他跟台湾的军人一起工作。
哦，悉尼的天气怎么样？
这里天气很好，这里不太冷也不太热，我们也没什么大的自然灾害。
很好。
So these guys and girls aren't language prodigies or anything. They're just busy professionals, parents, retirees. Most of them started from scratch. They're just simply following a system that makes fluency predictable. And today, over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and share our entire system with you, so you can get fluent much faster without the 10K price tag. So here's what I'm going to deliver to you guys today. Casual learners, you're going to leave this presentation totally clear on what to do next to get to fluency, along with an incredible, useful, free tool that will help you get started. Now, for you serious learners, you get access to our full system, Mandarin Blueprint Pro, with our biggest discount ever and multiple free resources or bonuses currently only available to our MB Elite coaching clients. So here's what we're going to cover today. First, we're going to start diving a little bit deeper into what you're actually going to get for being here. So I appreciate everyone's time, everyone being here live. Why 95% of Chinese learners don't make it to fluency. The system that guarantees Mandarin fluency and fast. And how to apply what you learn and start crushing Chinese today. So let's get started with the first one. I'm going to be giving away something that we've been working on since May this year that cost us $24,000 so far to develop and counting. We created it exclusively for MB Elite members to help them master Chinese faster and easier, and it works. Everyone watching live here today will get exclusive access to it for free for life. That's my way of saying thank you. I'll explain exactly how to get access to everything after the presentation's over. So that's what you're going to get for being here. Let's go into why 95% of Chinese learners don't make it to fluency. Because before we talk about what to do right, we've got to talk about what most people do wrong. Because if you understand why people fail, you'll never waste time repeating their mistakes. And a few people could give you a better example of what not to do than these guys. So this was us back in the day when we first moved to China and had more hair, frustrated, overwhelmed, completely lost. 我们现在 中文水平大概到了11级嘛，但走到这一步并不容易。Getting here really wasn't that easy. We made a lot of mistakes along the way. In the beginning, we tried classes, apps, textbooks, tutors. That's my Memrise score, memrise.com, 16.6 million points. Spent 3 hours a day for about 9 months working through that without much to show for it. Phil even got a Chinese degree, but he got fluent in Chinese despite the degree, not because of it. And we both lived and worked in China, so we had amazing advantages as well. And we still struggled despite spending 2,500 combined hours on Chinese for our first year combined. And we still couldn't speak or understand very well at all. We had no structure or direction. We were constantly jumping around to different resources. We found that the classes that we joined, which were many, were slow and boring. And we spent a ton of time and money pretty much for nothing. By the way, guys, let me know in the chat. Does any of this sound familiar so far? When we stopped guessing and started researching how polyglots actually learn, everything changed. For those of you who don't know, a polyglot is someone who speaks multiple languages, usually I think it's 5 or more, fluently. So we discovered memory techniques, flashcards, how to actually do them properly, comprehensible input, immersion, speaking strategies. I'm sure many of you have heard of some of these. And after discovering these things, we went from failing and almost quitting to B2 level fluency and passing the highest level Chinese exam in existence in under a year. That's 4 times faster than the average full-time learner. Now, after our breakthrough, we realized 2 things. Number 1, the people who get fluent aren't necessarily smarter, they just have a better approach. And number 2, every method we tried was broken in at least one of 3 ways. And these 3 ways we now call the 3 pillars of fluency. They are structure, methodology, and consistency. If you get these right, fluency becomes predictable. But if you miss even one of these, then you're in trouble. You're going to have a lot harder time getting there. So that's why most people fail. Let's talk about the system that guarantees Mandarin fluency and fast. And we're going to start off with structure. So structure really is just strategy. It's learning the right words at the right time so you don't waste time or lose motivation. And the number 1 reason why most people quit Chinese, not lack of discipline, not being bad at languages, we found the number 1 reason is decision fatigue. Let me explain what I mean. So most learners, and again, let me know if you're familiar with this feeling, spend months or years jumping between apps, textbooks, tutors, YouTube, learning random characters, words, phrases, and grammar rules in no particular order. They ask Google, YouTube, ChatGPT questions, all kinds of questions like, hey, how many characters and words should I actually learn per day? How much speaking versus reading? How to improve speaking and listening? What's the actual best way to do that? How or when should I review flashcards? How many should I review? How much is too much? How much immersion is enough? What about AI? Do I use AI to get fluent? Or do I just immerse in Peppa Pig until I magically speak fluent Chinese? What is the right way? And it's not that you can't find answers, right? The internet has nothing but information, but the problem is finding answers that you actually trust. But of course, you guys, you want to get fluent, right? So you're not going to just do nothing. Oh, I can't find the perfect solution, so I'm just going to not make any decision. Of course, you're going to make a decision of some kind. So you choose something. You spend weeks, even months, sometimes years, using some technique, app, tool, or tutor that you aren't ever 100% sure about. And there's always that voice questioning, is this really the best way? Just how much time am I wasting here? I know I'm wasting some, but I'm not sure if I'm wasting a little or a lot. And this constant doubt and second guessing, it's exhausting. All right, let me know in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. That's why most learners give up. Not because they're lazy, but because they're overwhelmed by choice and lack of direction. And that's exactly what great structure fixes. See, when you trust your roadmap, decision fatigue disappears. But unfortunately, conventional methods for learning Chinese have bad structure. You either learn way too top down, for example, learning phrases without learning the words, or learning words without learning characters, just like I did. I spent many, many hours doing this. What happens as a result of this is you build a shoddy house on sand. And this is what most people go through, is learning too top down. So you'll spend months and months learning, you get to a decent level, make some decent progress, but as soon as you stop reviewing, as soon as you stop learning, it all just comes crashing down and you forget everything. It's because you learn too top down. Some people learn way too bottom up. I did this as well. They collect characters and words like Pokemon cards without actually seeing them or using them in context. So this is also demotivating. Not exactly ideal either. It's like building a brickyard. So we spent 4 years creating the most efficient learning order we could design. This is from about 2015 to 2017 or 18. We did live classes in Chengdu for well over a year with local expats. And as we taught them seminars on how to learn Chinese faster, we were also building our own curriculum. And then we spent another year teaching it online to people all around the world. And after about a total of 4 years, we had created an intuitive structure for learning Chinese, a far better one. We call it Optimal Character Learning Order, or OCLO. So with OCLO, you learn characters and words in order of most common to least, and only when you're ready. So you'll learn common characters only after learning their components. You'll learn common words only after learning their characters. But most importantly, you'll see and hear new words in comprehensible sentences immediately. Sentences made up of characters and words you've already learned. So with OCLO, you can go from zero to understanding fast by learning holistically, balancing top down with bottom up. So this way you build a solid house, one section at a time. You learn a few characters, learn a few words, you see and use them in context of sentences, and repeat. So using OCLO as the foundation, we developed an entire 9,000 lesson curriculum that we now call the Blueprint. This is our core curriculum. The Blueprint gives you 3,050 characters, 11,800 words, basically everything you need for any level of literacy and fluency that you want, plus comprehensible example sentences for every usage, all organized by frequency. Yeah, all you need to achieve any level of Chinese you want. So let's just take a quick second to see what this looks like in action.
Here's level 35. So at this point, you've learned probably about 500 characters. And now we're going to learn the character Fang. You'll use the Hanzi movie method to remember that it means square, that it's pronounced Fang. And at this point, you'll be able to do this in about 15 to 20 seconds. It'll be no problem. But in the next lesson, what we do is we say, okay, there are actually 3 words you can unlock that are A, high frequency, and B, only made up of characters you've already learned, and Fang, the character you just learned. Di Fang, Fang Bian, and Fang Fa. These are all high frequency, and so you're going to need to learn them right away. You'll use them all the time. So let's just look at Di Fang for a second. Later in the level, you'll get to Di Fang in context. So originally we went from character to word. Now we're going from word to sentence. And if we go down here to the sentences, these 2 sentences are made up of characters and words you previously learned in OCLO. Therefore, you'll understand them with pretty significant ease. That means you're getting comprehensible input while you're building comprehension. It becomes like a dance between build and get. And so this sentence in particular with the asterisk, that tells us that it comes from a longer form paragraph. So we went from character to word, word to sentence. Now we go from sentence to paragraph. This is the first paragraph of Sleeping Beauty in Chinese, 睡美人. And you'll see here in this very easy to digest paragraph, there's that sentence. And again, this paragraph is made up of characters and words you've already learned. If there is a character or word that you haven't learned yet, we put it here and we give you a pronunciation and definition. We call those top-down words. But you'll notice here this says paragraph 1. We don't stop there. One level later, you unlock the full story. So here's that sentence again. And here's that word again, and here's that character again. And now you're going to be able to read this full story at 90% comprehension here in level 35. But you really shouldn't stop at 90% comprehension. So up at level 54, when you've learned more characters and you learn more words, we unlock it again, and now you're at 98% comprehension.
So with the blueprint, you'll be able to understand Chinese sentences without pinyin in 10 or 20 hours from zero. That's an average. Some people do it way faster than that. And after 100 to 150 hours of study, you'll be understanding entire articles and stories without translation. So here's just some examples. And again, you guys can just go online, right? You can just look at the Trustpilot reviews, and you go into our free community, our pro community, and you'll see all kinds of stories like this. I'm dreaming in Chinese. My listening is massively improved. I can read suddenly, which is strange because I didn't think I'd be able to do that. I watch my favorite TV show in Chinese. That structure taken care of. Let's move on to the second pillar of fluency. It's very sort of intertwined, and it's methodology. So if structure is learning the right words at the right time, then methodology is learning them in the right way, learning them efficiently and effectively, so that it's not only fun and fast to learn them, but you also retain them easily. That's the key. So we need effective methodology over 3 stages of language learning. We call it build, as in build comprehension by learning lots of characters and words. The ability to understand is built from this. Get comprehensible input through lots of reading and listening. And finally, activate vocabulary through lots of speaking practice. Build, get, activate. Now for each stage, we use 2 proven techniques. So for build, we use memory palaces and mnemonic association. Let me jump into memory palaces real quick. I know that those of you who are in MB Lite right now, our free course, our free program, you're probably very familiar with this. But let me just do a quick demo for those of you who aren't. So we call this the Hanzi movie method. So Hanzi means Chinese character. And you use this method to turn each character into a vivid movie scene in your mind. So I want you guys to just go with me on this. Close your eyes if it's convenient to do so. Well, actually, don't close your eyes yet. Read some of the names from here. And I want you to select one of these famous women. And you can also choose a female person from your life that you know very well, like anyone, like a friend or even a family member. It's absolutely fine. Just imagine them. Just choose anyone that you can imagine reasonably well with your eyes closed. Now, once you've got that person in your mind, imagine they're standing in front of you in your kitchen. Hopefully you're not in your kitchen right now, otherwise that'd be cheating. Okay. Now I want you to imagine that in front of you is standing that lady, and on the left of you is, or on the right of her, would be a floating sun. And on your right would be a floating moon. I want you to really imagine it as detailed as you possibly can. Even close your eyes and try and interact with these 2 objects. Then you can even give the lady in front of you a high five just to make her real as well. And you'll feel the warmth and heat from the sun, and you can feel that the moon is like a cold, dusty rock, and they're just floating there. And then this lady, whoever it is that you've imagined, she grabs 2 of these objects and smashes them together in front of her, and it creates this blindingly bright light. And that is the end of the movie scene. Okay, so we've just learned a character, and it's Ming, which means bright. So the reason why I asked you to imagine a female is because the MI, anything with an I, is an initial that is associated with females. But we can get into that later on. But there's also males, there's fictional characters, and like a wild card group as well. But whoever it is, it doesn't matter right now. These are just your actors, people that represent the initial, the first part of the pinyin spelling. Where you were, the building you were located in. So for example, your house was representing the final, and the room was represented by the kitchen. You know, the third tone is living room, the fourth tone is bathroom, etc. And these are the props. So we've got actors, sets, and props. So the objects represent the components. So the left side component means sun, the right side means moon. So this is a very simple example, but you can also use this exact approach to learn really complex characters. We just gradually build up the information as we go through the course and chunk simple characters together to create more complex characters. So for those of you thinking, what is going on here? This is not something we invented. This is a tried and proven approach that memory athletes use to memorize all kinds of things like decks of cards or numbers of pi. And they do it by associating the people, places, objects, and actions, things that we're very good at memorizing, with stuff that we suck at memorizing. So numbers, letters, Chinese characters, for example. And again, just a quick proof that this works. Every single week, pretty much, we get in our community people saying, oh, I've just learned 1,000 characters. This guy learned 1,200 characters in 2 months, 1,300 characters, 1,400 characters, just hit character 900. This guy, Dennis, late last year, he did 1,500 characters in 33 days. Okay. So he did that. He learned how to read, write, and pronounce 1,500 characters with the correct tone as well in just over a month. So one quick surprise benefit as well. I know a lot of you struggle with tones. The Hanzi movement method massively levels up your tones as well. It's like a nice side benefit that we kind of discovered by accident. And it's because you're associating the tones to a specific room, and it's really hard to get them wrong after that if you learn from the bottom up like this. So that's characters taken care of. That's how we do that. Now let's go on to mnemonic association. This is how we learn words. So you visualize personal connections to learn and retain words fast. There are 2 easy steps to this. Number 1, make a connection between the Chinese and English meaning. Number 2, visualize that connection in a funny, silly, or absurd way. Let me give you an example here. So this is a word which means to explain in Chinese, 说明. Okay, as you can see, it's using the second character that we just learned. So the 2 characters are speak and bright. So you could just attach a meaning to the characters, find a connection there. So, okay, I'm imagining a teacher talking to a class of students, and as she speaks and explains something, they all go, ah, and as they understand, their heads light up, or they have light bulbs appear above their head. Now, I could also connect to the sound. 说明 kind of sounds like Sean Connery saying swimming, right? So I can imagine Sean Connery giving me a swimming lesson, or explaining how to swim. And then shuo kind of sounds like show. Ming is like, when I think of Ming, I just think of, or I could think of Yao Ming, the basketball player, or I think of a Ming vase. So I imagine like an antique show and someone showing a Ming vase, and then light comes out of it or something. I know it sounds silly, and it is, but it works. And it is, again, we didn't invent this. This has been around for literally thousands of years. Okay, and it just got lost over time because technology developed, and we started relying on phones and pens and paper and things like that. So once you've learned a few common characters and words, you're ready to get comprehensible input. And that's the second stage. And we have 2 techniques for that as well: extensive listening and extensive reading. So extensive reading is consuming understandable sentences to naturally acquire grammar and increase comprehension fast. So to actually understand and eventually use Chinese words correctly, you need to see and hear those words in useful, understandable sentences. You do not need to study grammar rules. You can do it if you find it fun, right, for whatever reason, but it's not going to help you speak fluently. When you consume sentences a lot, your brain automatically learns grammar without memorizing rules. So for example, if you just see and hear these kinds of sentences over and over again, 他在吃饭,他在跳舞,他在喝茶, you will quickly absorb the idea that 在 plus a verb means doing something right now. It's that simple. So you just do listening and reading daily and comprehension will skyrocket. So this way you stop studying Chinese and you start absorbing it. For years, the Blueprint has been world-class at this, the build and get stage. That's what we focused for years to actually solve first. We've had thousands of learners reading, listening, and understanding Chinese to a very high level very quickly. Again, just go and search, look us up, Trustpilot. And of course, in our community, you'll see, oh, I can read Chinese, I can understand Chinese. But we noticed a problem. We've kind of noticed it for a long time now. Members who use the course learn to understand Chinese very, very well, but they often struggle to speak. And this makes total sense because understanding the language is one thing and using it fluently is quite another. So for years, we didn't do anything about this because we lacked the time, energy, and resources to do so. We used to simply say, go find native speakers and practice speaking. That's what we did after all, right? That's what we did. We just read, listened a lot, practiced with a lot of sentences, and then just spoke and spoke and spoke. But it was messy, slow, and inefficient. If we were going to guarantee fluency for MB Elite members, we couldn't rely on random tutors and hope people got there. So we asked, if we had to make activation predictable, what would that actually look like? And after a ton of research, after over many months, we came to the conclusion that we only needed to ensure learners do two activities: shadowing and retrieval practice. So let's get into shadowing real quick. Shadowing is simply listening to a native sentence or a bunch of sentences and repeating it immediately, imitating the voice as closely as possible. Doing this daily conditions your ears and mouth, making it possible to pronounce Mandarin accurately at speed. I've personally done at least 200 hours of Mandarin shadowing. I used to do it every day, walking my dogs 15, 20 minutes a day for a couple of years. It's how I can pronounce the language like a native speaker. So here's a real quick demo for you guys, just in case you aren't familiar with it.
那边是入口吗？直走。
直走。
远不远？
远不远？
请问洗手间在哪里？
洗手间在哪里？
可以走路去吗？
可以走路去吗？
往前走3个路口就到了。
3个路口就到了。
这是什么地方？
这是什么地方？ That's it, right? So you're speaking along with it. As you hear it, you're producing it pretty much at the same time with a slight lag. So that's shadowing. Very important activity. But there's also retrieval practice. So let's get into that. And this is arguably the most important one. Shadowing is equivalent to strength and conditioning training for a fighter. So it's essential for high performance. But just like a fighter needs actual sparring to truly develop the skill, you must do speaking practice to develop spoken fluency. And a lot of people avoid this because they don't know how. So the original plan for Elite was pretty simple. Do a ton of reading, listening, and shadowing practice with useful sentences, then do as many speaking sessions as possible. But we quickly saw some problems. Even before we started, we knew we'd have these problems, which was tutor quality varies wildly. Even great tutors just gradually get worse and lazier over time if they aren't expertly managed, and sessions become random chit-chat and usually surrounding the same old boring topics. Most importantly though, learners rarely, if at all, ever practice alone between sessions. And once again, because they don't know how. Think of it like learning the piano. You don't get good at the piano by performing as much as possible. You get good by practicing in private and then performing. So we started researching how can you train speaking on your own in a way that actually works. This is where we discovered the real missing piece, retrieval practice, or just simply forcing your brain to produce Chinese. So there are several ways to do this on your own. Okay, there are flashcards. You can practice with AI. You can do self-talk. These are our three sort of favorite ones. There are others as well, but these are our three ones that we focus on. So the flashcards, for example, a great way to do this is to just put the English on the front and then have the Chinese on the back and try to produce it from memory with a direct translation. And the audio and the text on the back, that's your feedback that you would normally get from a tutor. With practicing with AI, it's a similar thing, but you can just get the AI to present English sentences or ask you simple questions as prompts, and then you just try and produce the Chinese from that. You can also just talk to yourself. Speak out loud to yourself in bursts of 1 or 2 minutes throughout your day. Narrate your surroundings, journal, or simply regurgitate the sentences you've been practicing with. Now, members do these activities daily as part of their regimen. Then do weekly speaking sessions with native speakers to practice what they've been working on live. This way, the speaking sessions aren't the practice as much as the performance, the proof that the regimen is actually working. So to make this easy, fun, and trackable, we spent $24,000 so far building a tool for our members. We call it the MB Web App. So instead of juggling all these things, word mnemonics, sentence lists, audio files, flashcards, everything lives in one place. Let me give you guys a quick
So this is the Mandarin Blueprint web app. The first thing you'll do when you log into the program is select your course. We have the phrase vault, which is full of 7,000 really useful Chinese phrases. We also have the Mandarin speaking listing Kickstarter. That's similar, but just more basic with 1,000 basic phrases. You also have a little bonus, 50 phrases for use in native conversations. And the language islands are for elite members only. And over the next few months, we'll be adding more and more blueprint sentences so you can use this platform to practice those sentences as well. So let's dive into the phrase vault. We've selected it. So let's go to build. You'll only need to use this section if you want to learn these words and phrases top down. You can also just work through the blueprint and you'll gradually unlock these units and levels from the phrase vault as you master every single character in every level. So you'll be presented with each sentence one by one, and every single word, whether it's a single character or multi-character word, you'll be presented with mnemonic suggestions for you to build mnemonics and learn the words really fast. And as you learn them, or if you've already learned them previously, you can just tick them off. So for example, for 知道, which means to know in Chinese, you might not know this word, so you could just look at the suggestions, the opinion-based or character-based mnemonic suggestions. Just to give you some ideas, you can make a quick mnemonic and learn that word if you wanted to. Even if you don't know the characters right now, you can still learn the words using mnemonics. That's just how powerful mnemonics are. So once you've learned all the words for this particular phrase, and of course the app will remember which word you've already ticked, which words you've already learned. And you can leave your mnemonic suggestions there as well, so you can review them later if you need to, and hit next. And you just do that to build your knowledge of all of these individual phrases and the vocabulary within them. And when you're ready, you can go to the Get section at the top here, and this is where the magic happens. So all the sentences that you have activated in Build will appear here. You can turn off the Chinese and the pinyin if you wanted to test yourself using active recall or retrieval practice in this view. But primarily this view, the Get view, is for listening, reading, and shadowing practice. Look at the individual sentences here. You can play the audio for them individually.
那边是入口吗?
You can even loop them over and over and over again if you wanted to shadow a particular sentence.
那边是入口吗?
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 When you think you're ready, you can then play all sentences in a row as an audio file. And again, you can loop the audio file. You can loop each sentence multiple times each as you go through. You can change the speed. So you can start off slower and then speed up gradually. You can even change the gap in between the sentences. So let's first try a half-second gap with 80% speed, playing each sentence one time.
那边是入口吗?
那边是入口吗?
直走。
直走。
远不远?
远不远?
请问洗手间在哪里？
在哪里？
可以走路去吗？
走路去吗？
And so on and so forth. And then when you think you're ready, You can hit this little check button here. As you can see, I've already checked these ones, but you can say, oh, okay, this one, 这个地方安全吗? Okay, I'm pretty confident with that. I'll click it. Or you can just hit activate all if you're feeling super confident. And then once you've activated it by hitting this little check or hitting activate all, you can go to the activate section. And that's when we do proper retrieval practice using SRS, spaced repetition software flashcards. So it works very similar to any other spaced repetition software like Anki. You just read the English, 前面3个路口就到了. So you try and produce the Chinese based on what you read in front of you.
往前走3个路口就到了.
往前走3个路口就到了. So maybe I got that a little bit wrong, so I might repeat it again, hit hard or hit wrong, and then go on to the next flashcard. What's this place? 这是什么地方?
这是什么地方?
I got it right, so I hit good, and so on and so forth. And that will activate the language. And you just keep following this process for every single sentence that you want to be able to master, either in the blueprint, in the Kickstarter, or in the phrase vault. And very soon, you will notice your ability to not only understand the language, but also produce it fluently will increase dramatically over the next days, weeks, and months.
So spoiler alert, everyone here live is going to get access to that for free. Just letting you know. Once you can master vocabulary using the Hanzi movie method and living links, absorb them through real input, listening and reading practice, activate them with the right output, shadowing, retrieval, and speaking sessions, and learn everything in a logical, frequency-based order using Oklo, well, you've nailed structure and methodology. Now we just need one more thing, a way to make sure that you actually show up long enough for all this to work. So that's methodology done. Let's move on to consistency, the third pillar. So structure is learning the right words at the right time. Methodology is learning the right way. Consistency is sticking to a daily habit long enough to achieve the level of fluency that you actually want. Now, to ensure consistency for MB Elite members, we began with a personalized plan. And I would highly recommend you guys do this too. In the onboarding call, we establish what level they're aiming for, whether it's B2 or C1, and exactly what that actually takes to get there. So they have clarity, a realistic B2 timeline for fluency or C1, depending on what their current weekly schedule is like. Then we establish a why. We make sure they have clear, strong reasons for getting fluent. And then we establish how they're actually going to maintain the habit by giving them key training on habit and mindset. From day one of Elite, every member gets a personal language trainer, a fluent non-native who's already walked the path, who members can have calls with and message anytime. We give them the starting plan, the training and the support, everything we thought they needed, okay? And for the first couple of months, everyone was crushing it. They were on fire, excited, motivated, doing work every day. Then something surprising happened. People began to drift. So even our most hardworking members started missing a day, then two, forgetting to shadow, avoiding speaking practice, reviewing flashcards inefficiently. All sorts of things started happening. And then the more we looked at it, the more we realized this is not a language problem. This is a human problem, right? People always drift eventually, no matter what. That's why couples have weekly date nights, or why businesses have weekly meetings. Because without reminders, you lose sight of what actually matters. So our solution was to make consistency bulletproof by doing the following. Every month, they had to get on a one-to-one call with their personal language trainer. And in that call, we would make a 30-day plan. And then in the same call, we would schedule the next call. So it's in their calendar. And then every week we would do a weekly report that they would submit and have a conversation about it and make sure they're on track with their 30-day plan. Then the PLT reviews and adjusts the regimen without pressuring them to do a certain amount. And then I create like a personalized weekly newsletter in the community for them based on the results from that week's report. And then, of course, on a daily basis, they have a clear daily regimen. They know exactly what they're doing to get to their weekly and monthly goals, help available anytime. And so there's no decision fatigue. They're never wondering, what do I actually do? And the result of all these improvements, well, we've now logged over 12,000 hours of study inside Elite. People are progressing faster and sticking to their studies better than ever. It's really exciting to see. Our studies have gone up. People are sticking to their regimens longer. Far fewer members are drifting. Confidence has increased. We're getting way more breakthroughs, and our entire Elite system is finally clicking. So that's how we took care of consistency. Now, the question for you guys is, how do you start using this system? You've seen the structure, you've seen the methodology, you've seen how we ensure consistency. Now let me show you how to put it all together. Let's get into how to apply what you've learned here today so you can start crushing Chinese right now. I'd like to introduce to you guys our core program. This is a complete fluency system built from a combined 25 years of Chinese teaching experience and over 12,000 hours of elite coaching data. And it's being improved all the time right now. It's called Mandarin Blueprint Pro. It consists of two major parts: the course materials, which is primarily the blueprint, and the ongoing community support and services. In my opinion, both equally important. And we call this second part the hub. So let's get into the course materials first of all. So we've already talked about, and you've already seen what the blueprint looks like. Here's a quick recap of what you'll be able to do as you go through this course. You'll be able to master upwards of 50 to 100 characters per day if you wanted to, using the proven techniques of memory athletes. Utilize simple mnemonics to learn, again, 50 to 100 or more words per day if you wanted to. Read Chinese without pinyin or English translation from 0 in 10 to 20 hours. Read and understand 99.4% of Chinese by frequency. Consume novels, podcasts, TV shows, and movies in Chinese in 6 months or less. Pass even the highest levels of the new HSK. All the vocabulary will be covered. With enough practice and dedication, you could get there with the course. Get results far superior to any 4-year Chinese degree with a tiny fraction of the time and financial investment. And most importantly, achieve authentic proficiency up to 5 times faster than the average learner while having way more fun. And here's what you'll be able to get rid of when you get the blueprint. You'll be able to not go to university. Please don't ever do this. We did it. It's probably the worst way to learn languages, and it's very expensive. Private classes, you will do them eventually, but you don't need to rely on them. Immersion programs in China, certainly don't need to do these. Trips to China, again, I recommend you go to China. It's great, but you don't need to go there to learn the language. Books, 30 to 100 bucks each, many of them. Apps and websites, again, people usually get a bunch of these subscriptions, $10 to $50 a month. Average cost of fluency, I'd say if you are super saver, right, on a budget, maybe $5,000, if you get to fluency, of course, but upwards of $100,000, depending on what route you take. And that doesn't include the opportunity costs of wasting the time with the methods that don't work. Speaking of time, the average time, if you don't quit, which I predict well over 90%, maybe 95% plus of people do before they get to fluency. But if you don't quit, you're looking at 2,200 to 4,000 plus hours of study time. And with the blueprint, you'll master this amount of Chinese as fast as you possibly can, save this much money, save at least several hundred hours. Most people probably save between 1,000 and 3,000 hours of their life. It's a patent pending curriculum, better Chinese education than any university degree can provide. Better than Oxford, Harvard, for sure. So that's why we value this course, the whole curriculum, conservatively at $10,000 plus. And let me just show you real quick what people are saying about the blueprint.
Making several attempts over the years. And I have a little Mandarin, folder on my iPhone with literally 25 apps on it.
I was skeptical. I thought with the multitude of courses available and, the syllabuses and all the rest of it, why is this going to be any different?
And then a friend of mine said, hey, I found a really great program. And I thought, yeah, right. Okay. I've tried a bunch of apps and stuff.
I've tried different programs. none of them really stuck. Another friend of mine, another foreigner, he introduced me to Mandarin Blueprint. So I did the 14-day free trial. And even before I was done with those 14 days, I said, shut up and take my money, please.
This is 100 times better than the next thing.
By the end of the first hour, I was blown away. The care and the thought that is invested into the design and the presentation, it's like nothing else. It's a league of its own.
Speaking quite a lot of languages myself, it's the best course I ever stumbled upon.
It is so much fun to learn with your method.
Not only learning the language, it's also learning the culture. So Luke and Phil tell real life stories very often, and I really enjoy it. Sometimes very funny. I just sit there and just laugh at it.
Mandarin Blueprint has changed my view on Mandarin.
I'm really glad that I found Mandarin Blueprint because it's such a refreshing way to learn Chinese characters.
This platform has a very methodical, very consistent, very natural way of teaching you.
Like they're laying it out in a step-by-step process that you can follow that is very easy and it just all makes sense and clicks nicely together.
It's clear you put a lot of effort into thinking about what order things should come in.
I love the way they put it step by step, video by video. You just never have to wonder, what do I do next?
Now, what Luke and Phil have done has put together an amazing system. It's the best learning program I've ever seen.
The way Mandarin Blueprint works is just so clear and orderly and intuitive. Like, how often do those things go together?
It's really fun. Yeah, I couldn't recommend Mandarin Blueprint highly.
Mandarin Blueprint is the only way to learn.
You can learn Chinese, and you can do it with the Mandarin Blueprint method.
The only thing I regret is that I didn't find you right from the beginning.
Of course, there is nothing better than Mandarin Blueprint.
Your program is just a chef's kiss. Outstanding.
I actually still recognize the characters. I can still write them like 2 months later, having only put like maybe 1 hour in. And I was like, oh man, I should have just stuck with this from the beginning.
Get the program and you will learn Chinese. And it's fun too. It's really fun. All right, guys, thanks a lot. And I hope to shake your hand in person someday soon. Yes.
So here's what you're getting today. The blueprint, first of all, $10,000 value. But of course, that's not all. We also have the hub, right? So let's get into that. So with the hub, the first major sort of thing you get is the pro community access. So I'll give you a quick sort of insight into what it looks like. Now, a lot of you in our MB Lite community, which is a great community, the MB Pro Hub obviously has way less people, but it's way more engaged. So in the pro community, you'll be able to share awesome achievements, get inspired. Hey, look, guys, I did this. It's a place for you to fit in and stand out. I know a lot of you are learning Chinese. You're like in, you know, maybe a small town in America or Europe, right? Where not many people around you are actually doing the same thing. Here, you get to connect with people on the same exact path, right? So it's very powerful. 1,000 characters in the blueprint. I proposed in Chinese. I painted my nails with Chinese characters. I'm going the distance despite I had a struggle and I'm breaking through. I thought you were half Chinese, someone said to me. I've just completed 1,500 characters in 33 days. You can also learn from more advanced members. You can connect with them directly just through chat, or they'll just make posts saying, here's what I would do different. Here's me learning 30 characters in one session. Here's how to watch TV more effectively in Chinese, reflections after 1,500 characters, etc. Be able to join and hold challenges, tongue twisters, Chinese reading challenges, you know, speaking to yourself, pronunciation challenges. So this is James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. He says in his book about communities, one of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. New habits seem achievable when you see others doing them every day. Okay, so in the community, you'll be able to find study buddies, and many people have found lifelong friends. You'll be able to share wins, get support when you need it, bonus unlockable resources and merchandise as well in there. It's really, especially when you talk about like finding friends for life. I mean, it's like, it's not, I'm not going to put a value on it, but it's pretty much priceless. So we also run regular live events in the community. So every week, Phil and I will get on a call. We sort of alternate and we'll connect with anyone who wants to go live. We usually have between 10 and 20 people join live, and everyone gets a chance to ask us questions, and we just have a chat, or we talk about something more serious about how to actually, you know, achieve Chinese fluency faster or what have you. You'll also be able to join events hosted by community leaders. We have several of those as well that run every month and every week. So I would say, based on the coaching level that we provide and the availability, you're looking at least $600 a year value. And we also have expert Chinese support. So we have people that not only know the course, but know Chinese very, very well. You can ask any question about Chinese and we'll respond to you within 24 hours, usually just a few hours. You can ask that in the community, or you can ask it via email or via comment under the actual course, and we'll get back to you. That's how seriously we take support. Because we remember when we were learning Chinese, we felt pretty much alone, and it's tough. So we take that very, very seriously. And we invest a lot of our resources into it. So that's at least a $200 a year value there. So with the hub, you consider the incredible community, the live coaching, 24/7 expert support, the community live events, the bonus resources, the lifetime access, considering many of you will be in there for at least a year or two, many of you for 5, 10 years. I'd say the value here is at least $3,000. So that brings the total value to $13,000. Now, there are also going to be some huge bonus learning resources for you, so you can make more efficient and fun progress. So the first bonus is the phrase vault. Now, we spent a year, our entire team spent a year on this, and it's kind of a labor of love. I absolutely love this course. I call it the ultimate Chinese phrase book. So MB Pro and the Blueprint sort of builds lifelong Chinese proficiency, primarily bottom up. The phrase vault is all about getting you speaking fast with top-down learning. So we created 7,000 natural high-frequency phrases for over 130 different life situations, including everything you see in front of you here, from the more basic ones like travel and shopping to the more complicated advanced ones like business and finance, law and order, emergencies and medical stuff. Every lesson contains 3 types of audio and 2 types of audio flashcard, so you can master everything and speak like a native fast. And you'll be able to get rid of any kind of listen repeat program. You don't need to get that. You can get rid of your phrase books. You don't have to learn these phrases through a tutor, saving you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. People just generally love this course because it's super useful, and it plugs directly into the Blueprint as well. So you can do it top down, just straight away, jump into the phrase vault using your new web app, or you can go through the Blueprint in your own way and then unlock the phrase vault naturally. And so, like, for example, once you get to level 36, we'll say, oh, you've just unlocked this level in the phrase vault because you've learned all the characters within all the sentences, all the phrases within this particular level. So the phrase vault makes speaking Mandarin genuinely easy, fast, and fun. 7,000 phrases, 75 hours of studio quality audio. This was before AI as well, which is just before AI came out. And so they've got really nice, real professional audio as well. And this is 15,000 audio flashcards if you want to use them. $2,000 value at least in terms of all the time and money that's going to save you. So the total value so far is $15,000, conservatively. Bonus number 2 is the speaking and listening bundle. This is actually 3 courses that we've now bundled together. So pronunciation mastery, many of you may also have this. You've seen my pronunciation training on YouTube, most likely. There's a rather popular video on YouTube. This is like the deep dive version. So it's 6 hours of core content, 2 hours of bonus content. I also recently added PPT to this as well, just for convenience. 1,000 audio flashcards, saving you hundreds on tutors and classes. Everything you need to know about Mandarin pronunciation is here, at least $700 of value. People love that course and they often go back to it, but that's more the theory. This one, Pronunciation Practice Toolkit, is more about the practice, right? So this is just a shorter course. It's like teaching you all about how to actually practice Chinese for best results in terms of your pronunciation. It gives you like study schedules, tone guides, tutoring guides, another $200 of value. And then the Kickstarter is actually a smaller course that we made by accident while we were making the phrase vault. It's like a Kickstarter, right? It's designed for beginners. So if you're a beginner learner, this is perfect for you to start off with. Be able to master 1,000 survival phrases, 7 hours of audio lessons, clear and efficient 7-step routine, 15 email or onboarding course, tons of flashcards, $300 value. Everyone who joins our coaching program, Elite, we get them to do this first, just to give them that foundational listen and repeat understanding for the language. So this is a total of $1,200 value for this bundle. You're also going to get that included as a free bonus today. Total value is $16,200, but we're not done yet. Bonus number 3 is the MB Accelerator. So this is another sort of labor of love, if you like. I made a workshop earlier this year. This is 4 recorded workshops with me, over 6 hours of content, everything you need to develop a solid Chinese learning habit and mindset. It comes with assignments. You can download the slides, and obviously you can discuss everything in the community. Another $1,000 value, again, just in terms of how much headache this is going to save you and how much faster it's going to get you to your goal of fluency, because you'll be able to stick to it. So now we're up to $17,200, but we've also got the Progress Accelerator Kit. So this includes a smart habit tracker to help you track how many characters and words you've learned. This is actually a member of the community created this originally, and now we've provided it to everyone. Make sure everyone has it because it's so useful. It includes a fully customizable study schedule generator. So you just put in what your level is in the blueprint right now and how much time you have per day, and it will tell you how much time to spend on each of the activities of build, get, and activate. It includes a companion video course as well, just so you know exactly how to get the most out of the course. Another $1,000 value there, again, in terms of how much time and headache that's going to save you. So total value right now is $18,200. But one more thing. Well, actually 3. For Black Friday only, you're getting 3 bonuses, easily, very conservatively worth $2,000. And until now, these are only available to our MB Elite coaching clients who pay, again, $10,000 or more for guaranteed fluency. I had to talk to my team a lot about this, just really had to have a chat to see how much of these we could actually provide. So the first bonus is, of course, as you know, the MB web app. So it's not yet released. It's the same practice engine we've been building for our MB Elite clients to make shadowing retrieval practice smooth, simple, and trackable. I already gave you a quick look as well, so that's cool. So you already know exactly what is included with it. You'll be able to rapidly improve vocabulary, listening, reading, and speaking skills, master thousands of words, phrases, and sentences from our courses, including the Kickstarter, the Phrase Vault, the Blueprint, and more. You'll be able to access new Blueprint content, including exclusive lifetime access, easily $1,000 value. So that brings it up to $19,200. Now, I did mention earlier that everyone watching here live today would get a free gift worth $1,000. Well, this is it. So if you can't invest in MB Pro today, even with our biggest discount ever, you'll at the very least walk away with this free tool to help you make progress towards fluency. Now, it won't include the Blueprint content. Right, that's going to be for MB Pro buyers only. But it will include all content from the Phrase Vault and the Mandarin Speaking and Listening Kickstarter, plus a bonus module as my way of saying thank you to those of you here live who are on a budget. I'll tell you exactly how to get access to it at the end of the Q&A, which I'll do shortly. Now, let's get on to those other 2 bonuses, because I'm even more excited about these ones. So I just want to make it clear to you guys, as I said in the beginning, we've never done this before and may never do it again. It's a very experimental thing we're trying here for this Black Friday. So the second bonus that you get when you sign up to MB Pro today is 10 sessions with our trained Mandarin Blueprint tutors. They're custom one-to-one sessions based on where you are at in the blueprint. Maximum 1 a week. They'll be about 45 minutes or so. It's your chance to practice real conversation and build real confidence fast. You get immediate feedback and correction so you don't build bad habits. Our tutors are vetted and trained by the MB team. You unlock these after level 36. And that's not because we want to keep these from you. It's because we want you to have actual fruitful study sessions. So you need a foundation in reading and listening and speaking. So for level 36, we're looking at maybe between 100 and 200 hours of study. Some people could get there sooner. But don't worry, because it's valid for 1 whole year. So don't feel like you're rushed to use them. That's a $500 value. Easily. I mean, the average tutor is between $20 and $50 anyway, just your average italki tutor. But these are specifically trained, and they'll be able to give you kind of bespoke sessions based on where you're at in the course. So that's a conservative value. So that brings the value up to $19,700 here today. But you're also going to get, this is the one that I really had to be careful with. I had to talk to our elite customer success manager to be like, how much of these can we actually do? Everyone who, well, the first 100 buyers are going to get 1 free month of MB Elite coaching. So you'll work with a fluent non-native coach to set your hours, build your regimen, and keep you accountable for a full 30 days inside MB Pro. So they'll be assigned to your account. You get an onboarding call at the beginning of your 30 days and then another call towards the end. You get 4 weekly check-ins in between. You get a one-to-one communication Monday to Friday, as in by email or by chat. You'll be able to activate these within the next 90 days. So again, no rush to immediately start using it. You can sort of get your bearings in the program and then activate within the next 90 days. 30 days completely free. Again, at least a $500 value in terms of how much time and energy that's going to save you and how much personal attention you get. So that brings the total value of today to $20,200. This really is the biggest offer we've ever made, and I'm very excited to offer it to you. But I want to ask you a question. If all this did was finally give you a path to fluency that is proven to work, if it gave you more in 1 or 2 hours a day from the comfort of your own home than 8 hours a day at any university, if it gave you the ability to amaze your friends, family, and strangers alike with fluent Chinese for the rest of your life, would it be worth $20,000? But don't worry, you're not paying $20,200 or even $10,000. And you're not paying $5,000 either. You're not even paying the full price of MB Pro, $1,499. Today, you can join Mandarin Blueprint Pro with all the Black Friday bonuses for just $749, 50% off. So right now, just go to mandarinblueprint.com/BF and get Mandarin Blueprint Pro along with all the bonuses. And if you can't afford $749 right now, because I realize that you've probably got a lot of Black Friday shopping to do and Christmas is coming, and even though it's off price, it's still, it's a chunk of change, right? You can also do 3 payments of $269. Now, 2 things to keep in mind. Number 1, your discount and bonuses will expire soon. Number 2, there is 0 risk here. We have a 365-day guarantee. So you're going to get full access to every single lesson of every course plus your bonuses for a full year. And if you decide that you're not happy with your results, we'll give you a full refund. How can we do this? This is pretty It's pretty insane, especially with these free bonuses like the free coaching and the tutoring sessions. Because after over 10 years of data from Mandarin Blueprint Pro and the breakthroughs that we've seen in Elite, we know this system works when you actually use it. And plus, we have a tiny refund rate because it actually gets results, and we work hard for our customers. Now, the good news is you're getting over $20,000 worth of fluency training, bonuses, and tools for a tiny fraction of the price and a full year to test it all out. And here's the bad news. This offer will not and cannot last long. That's not a sales tactic. That's just the truth because the personal language training bonus is limited to the first 100 buyers. That's all we can handle over the next 90 days or so. And the 10 native speaking sessions are only available to the first 200 people. Now, as of right now, we've already sold 30. So these are real limits. And once they're gone, they're gone. No exceptions. So here's what happens when you join today. If you go to mandarinblueprint.com/BF, you'll get instant access to MB Pro, all the courses straight away, no drip feeding, early access to the MB web app, community access and live calls, lifetime access and a 365-day guarantee, plus 90 days to activate your free coaching. 12 months to use your speaking sessions as well. So really, guys, there are two paths from here, right? The first path is just keep bouncing around between apps, tutors, YouTube, hoping something clicks. Path B is to commit to one proven system, follow it long enough, and make fluency predictable. So if you know you want path B, go to this URL and get your Black Friday bonuses while they're still available. So right now, as we sort of come to the end of this presentation, what I want to do for you guys is just a quick Q&A. Now we have the comments here on YouTube, but I also know that I have to answer questions for people that might watch the recording. And so I'm going to just answer our most frequently asked questions right now. And then after that, I'll go through the comments and address any questions that you have in the comments as well. So the first question is, will this actually work for me? So I know that a lot of people will watch this and think, do you know what, the structure, methodology thing seems to make sense. And I'm sure that works for a lot of people. I'm not sure if I can do it because I've struggled with Chinese before, or I've struggled with other apps. So I just want to, there's a few things to say here. There's a lot to say. And I guess the first thing is, the system works. I personally trained hundreds of people, coached, and I've seen it work for many more. So really, and language, like learning a language in general, even a language is different from English as Chinese, it's not rocket science. It's not massively complicated. It's not massively complicated. It's just learning the right words in the right way, right? A few common words and doing that consistently, right? So the only question is not, does it work for me? It's, will I work, right? Will you actually put the time in? And so the question you have to really ask is, will you invest the time consistently? So make Chinese a priority. Start small, 15, 30 minutes a day. Just make a commitment. I'm going to do this today. And just put it in your calendar, ideally in the morning. We're better in the mornings, and just start work, right? Just make some progress through the course. And you can also, we have weekly Q&As. We have the hub community. We have support. We have email support, chat support. So you're not alone in this. And we also have thousands of other learners. So the answer is yes, as long as you just make a commitment today and just, I'm going to get fluent in Chinese over the next year or two. Or it could be 3 or 4, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to work towards this goal. I'm going to take it seriously. Another big question we get, what if I don't have enough time? Well, for this one, I would say if you are insanely busy right now, just think about this. Just ask yourself a question. Is Chinese a priority in my life? Do I actually really want this? I was literally talking to someone yesterday on a chat about this exact same question. It's one of the most common questions, of course, because we're all busy. Like, I know that 95% of the people I'm talking to are adults with family, full-time job, maybe kids as well, maybe other people depending on them. You also want to, look after your health and go to the gym, maybe do exercise and, have leisure time. And maybe you have between, you can scrape together 15 or 30 minutes. By the way, 15 to 30 minutes is okay, right? It's okay just to start from there, and you gradually build up as you realize how easy this can be. And it gets kind of addictive and motivating. It becomes your leisure time, right? Once you actually get into it. But the other thing to realize as well is that if consistency is far more important than intensity. So it's far more important for you to invest a little bit of time every day than it is to try and push yourself to rush to fluency and get like 2-3 hours a day in when it's going to burn you out. So that's another thing to consider. And the final point on this, I would say, is there is no better time to develop this habit than when you are crazy busy, right? Because if you manage to develop the habit while you're crazy busy, then it's only going to get easier from here. That means your habit is really going to be unbreakable. And if you just focus on doing a little bit every day for now, and then ramp it up when you can, but set yourself a minimum of whatever time it is that you'd be embarrassed that you didn't do, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes. Set that minimum. So I'm going to do this every single day. And then you'll gradually, as you feel the progress, you will invest more and more. I've tried everything. Why would this be different? I know I'm talking to a lot of people who've been through pretty much everything, right? University, classes, apps, tutors, textbooks. Well, the main difference between MB Pro, I would say, and just everything else, there's a couple of main differences, I guess. One is it's made by learners, for learners, right? Number two is it's got a ton of proof that it works. Again, you can go on, check our testimonials on, say, Trustpilot or what have you, and just read what people are saying. And I guess another reason is that it's comprehensive, right? So it covers speaking, listening, reading, and writing, right? You'll be able to do all of these things. Like I said, before, people, if you go online and read about MB Pro or Mandarin Blueprint or the Blueprint, a lot of it's outdated. You'll find that, it's mainly a reading and writing course. I mean, that may have been kind of true when we first started way back in like 2019, 2020. But over these last 5 years, as I've sort of walked through, we've developed a lot of aspects, and we've added in a lot of speaking practice techniques and things like that. And we're still improving it all the time. But now I would say it comfortably is very 全面. It covers all four of the major skills. And of course, anyone who signs up today, you're going to get the coaching as well, which is really cool. And the native speaking sessions. So that makes it even better. Okay, we've now got 50 left. So why would this be different? Again, it's very different from everything else out there, and it comes with a 365-day guarantee anyway. So it's worth a shot. What happens when I get stuck? So we have a very strong support system. As I said earlier, we take support very, very seriously. So you can reach out to us by email, chat, or leave a comment under a lesson, and our team will get back to you within 24 hours. That's our goal. Unless it's like a very extenuating circumstance, we'll get back to you soon. And so we also have the live coaching every week, so you can just jump on call with us and ask your questions, right? So if you're stuck but you want to get unstuck, you can get unstuck very, very soon. But we also make everything clear as well. Like the video lessons are super short and super clear. You just like follow each little tidbit step by step and just work your way through. Is this too hard or advanced or too big for me? So first of all, it's perfect for beginners. It starts off with the most simple characters. A pronunciation course is also included, so you can just start with that and then work your way through the Kickstarter as well as the beginning of the blueprint and just gradually work your way through. And if you think it's too big, like, oh, maybe I don't want to get to a high level right now, that's fine. You know, getting to like level 60 out of 88 will get you to 5,000 words. That's enough for B2 fluency. So it's better to actually go deeper than it is to go broader anyway. And that's one of the things that we discovered with our elite coaching clients is like, we had people finish the entire course, like 3,050 characters, but still couldn't speak because they'd learned a ton of characters and words, but had a very shallow knowledge of them. So it's far better to learn a few words and have a deep knowledge of them by doing lots of listening and shadowing practice and active recall practice as you work your way through the course. It's way better to do that than you can just get to a decent level of conversational fluency. And what you'll find is even if your plan is right now, I don't want to get to too high a level. I mean, first off, that's kind of like a skinny guy going into the gym and saying, hey man, I don't want to get too jacked. It's like, let's get you decently looking first. Let's get you to a decent standard of Chinese first, and then we'll work on getting you jacked, right? So that's like one side of it. But also it's like, what you'll find is that your goals, your perspective will kind of change. Once part of the reason why you maybe think you don't want to get to a super high level is because you don't think it's possible because it's Chinese, right? So we'll see how it goes, but just get started and it's perfect for beginners. Now, if you're already not a beginner, which I know is probably a lot of you as well, because you've most likely tried a bunch of stuff, maybe you even got a few hundred or even a few thousand words under your belt. Maybe you know a bunch of characters as well. It's super simple. You just start from the beginning, just like everyone else, but you skip what you already know. Now, when I say what you already know, remember, we focus on learning like a native, like to the level of a native when it comes to characters and words. So a lot of people will come on the course and say, oh, I know a bunch of characters. But actually, if I show them some basic characters, they know what it means, but they can't pronounce it accurately with the correct tone. And so if you can't do that, you don't know the character, not to our standard. So you still need to learn it. But you'll just be able to progress way faster because there'll be things like numbers and simple characters. You'll be able to just skip straight away and just power through the first few levels as you sort of gradually pick up the basic techniques like the Hanzi movie method and the living links, and then just carry on as normal like everyone else once you start hitting stuff that you don't know. How fast will I see results? Now, this one obviously depends on how much time you invest each day and certain factors as well, like, how adaptive you are to new ideas and how open-minded. But generally speaking, it's a 1,000-hour project, right? B2 fluency is a 1,000-hour project, and you'll have tons of breakthroughs in the beginning as you sort of get to grips with pronunciation. You learn a few characters, realize you can remember them and even write them and pronounce them correctly. And then same thing with words. And I can read my first sentence around level 13, which is relatively early on, like after 100 characters. And then after that, it will like the breakthroughs will slow down a bit, right? As you go from level 13 to 36. But once you get to level 36, in my opinion, that's where it really starts to get exciting because that's 1,000 words. The most common words in the language that we've worked very hard to make sure they are actually the most common spoken words in the language. And that includes 600 characters as well, common characters, obviously. And so with that foundation, you will notice you'll be able to understand 80% of what you read and even a lot of what you hear as well. You won't be able to read like physics textbooks and stuff or anything like that, or even watch TV shows with subtitles at that point, but you'll start to recognize tons and tons of stuff. And that's when you have the foundations. Like, so for example, that's why we say at level 37, then you can do the native speaking sessions. And that's when you should start including speaking in your life, speaking practice a lot more. And so, yeah, as long as you stay consistent, ideally at least an hour a day, you'll see a breakthrough every few weeks, I would say. And I think, yeah, for most people, fluency should be possible within like 1,000 hours. So if you have an hour a day, you're looking at 3 years from scratch, of course. And if you can gradually include more time, like 2 hours, 3 hours, then you could shave that number down to like 1.5 years, 2 years for sure. Do I need a good memory? Obviously, some people's memories are just better than others. Some people are just sharper than others, right? That's fine. But generally speaking, no, you do not need a good memory. In fact, that's the whole point of these memory techniques. It doesn't matter if you suck at remembering stuff, because these are like cheat codes basically to remembering things. It's like I used to suck at remembering people's names, right? And especially like Chinese names. But now I use mnemonics in my daily life when I need to remember someone's name. So this guy, I met my brother-in-law. I went to his just with all his friends. He goes out with them pretty much every night and has like drinks and dinner. Very unhealthy. But I met all his like 7 of his friends, and they're all with Chinese names. But everyone I met, I imagined something associated with their name. So Feng, his name was Feng, right? But Feng means wind. So I imagine him like blowing himself with like a fan, and like his hair going everywhere. And that was the kind of technique that I used. And I remember I amazed these guys because I remembered like all of their names for the whole night. And it's because I use memory techniques. So my memory, you could say, I would have said 10 years ago, my memory sucked, but these techniques make it good, make it possible. What if I'm too old to learn Chinese? Yeah, I get this one a lot, and it's absolute nonsense, right? It's like, you can't have this kind of belief. It's just not true. Yes, it's true. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. As you get older, your IQ goes down slightly because your mind generally becomes slightly slower. But here's the problem. If you say I'm too old to learn Chinese and you don't learn it, there's a lot of scientific studies and proof that learning languages actually improves your brain's functionality. So funnily enough, if you didn't learn languages because you thought you were too old, you're actually going to experience the negative effects of aging way more, right? So just get going. And also, being older means you have more life experience to draw from, and it makes it easier to do these mnemonic techniques like the Hanzi movie method and the living links. Okay, so yeah, please don't believe that. Does MB Pro cover reading, listening, speaking, and writing? Yes, we do. Right, so it's not just a reading course. Every single sentence, every single word, every single character comes with really good audio, male and female, actually, for every sentence as well. And so you get tons of reading and listening practice. And we've now introduced production flashcards or retrieval flashcards, the ones that I showed you earlier on, with the English on the front, Chinese on the back. So we're starting to include tons more and more speaking practice elements, and you'll naturally learn how to write. It's the least useful skill of all the 4 skills, but you'll naturally be able to do it as well as you work your way through the course. How does the guarantee work? We don't have any funny stuff like, fine print or conditions at all, because we know it works. Right. So I think the average refund rate for online courses is between 20 and 30%. Ours is like 3 or 4%. Right. So like, we don't like, if you're not learning Chinese, then why would we deserve your money? Like it's a Chinese course, right? So that's how I always thought about it. And so if you're not satisfied, and it's for any reason, right? So look, I mean, I think most people here right now watching this, whether you're watching the recording or live, you're dedicated enough to actually use that. You actually want this, right? You actually want to get to Chinese fluency. That's a goal of yours. So if you use the course, so I'm sure if you buy the course, you're going to use it. But even if you were like, oh, I didn't use it, and then I didn't use any of the native speaker sessions, oh, whatever, I just stopped wanting to learn Chinese, or whatever your reason is, yeah, you can get a refund. It's fine. But it will work if you use it. So that's why we give such a generous guarantee. So yeah, no like weird fine print or funny hoops that you have to jump through. We will ask you, by the way, like we'll ask you, we'll give you the refund, and then we'll be like, what happened? Like, why are you getting a refund? What can we do better? But we'll give you the money back first before we ask. Do I get access to everything right away? Yes. Except for obviously the Black Friday bonuses, which I've already said. So like the native speaking sessions, you don't get access to those until you're at level 37 in the course. But if you wanted to, you could activate your coaching, your monthly coaching right away. But I would recommend that anyone who gets that, you get onboarded in the course first and just get used to the course. Put it in your calendar. Make sure you set reminders so you don't miss the 90-day window. But I would wait for a month or two before getting that, just so you're situated. Now, if you're really struggling to get situated, then yeah, go ahead and reach out. And after you buy, you get an email saying what to do and how to get access. Does this include traditional characters? It doesn't, not right now. It's something that we want to add later, but there are multiple posts in our pro community guiding you exactly on how to apply this technique to learn traditional characters. It's basically been solved. It involves a little bit of extra elbow grease, a few extra steps, but you can do it with no major issues. So I know those of you who are located in Taiwan or Singapore, Hong Kong, you'll want to maybe also learn traditional characters. But yeah, we'll have the resources for you to do that as well. Can I pair this with a tutor or immersion or other tools? Yes, and actually, you don't have to, but I do recommend, like, if you want to spice up your study routine, you can do this. There are not many tools that we do recommend, but there are a handful to supplement your learning. And yeah, you can definitely get tutors, right? So say you never ever join Elite, you could just get your own tutors and practice alongside. But again, I wouldn't recommend you do that until level 37 and beyond. And also just make sure that you do a ton of practice in between the sessions. Can I use this on my phone or tablet? Yes, it's completely responsive. All of that, the actual course itself, the flashcards work on a phone or tablet, on any browser. What exactly happens after I join? So once you've clicked on this link and you've gone through to the web page, once you've clicked on the link and gone through to the web page, you just put in your details on the checkout page. Once you've clicked through to that, you put in your details, your name, email, and card details. And then on the thank you page, you'll get more instructions. You also get several emails. Don't be too overwhelmed by the emails. It's just you get all your login details to everything at the same time, right? So make sure you save those login details. And you also get a welcome email that's going to tell you exactly what to do next, like step by step. Okay, so it's all very clear. And then you just get going. So if you're on MB Lite, the free version right now, once you've got the paid version, you just keep going as you would normally. Nothing changes about your progress, by the way. A lot of people might assume that. Like, if you're on MB Lite, you have the access to the first 20 levels, right? The first 3 phases. And you have traverse access, the flashcard access as well. Nothing about your progress will change. You have actually access to the paid course already, just a smaller part of it. And so you go into your course library and you'll just see your existing course is still there. The first 3 phases, 20 levels, plus everything else will just be automatically added to your course library. And then you just get going and just follow the instructions. How do I access my free web app? All right. So for those of you that can get this, right, MB Pro today, if you have the funds this year, please do it, right? Because you're going to get access to, again, like it's a one-time offer for this Black Friday. And there are now just over 30 left of the coaching bonus. As I say, as I'm like recording this right now, we have like a live counter here on the back end to tell us. So, but if you can't afford it, totally understand, even the 3 payment option. And so here's how to get access to it. What I'm going to do, and this page is only going to be available for the next hour or so. I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. So you can go get the free app and just use that for free. And you'll make a lot of progress with it. You'll make some decent progress. You get the basics for sure. And there's a ton of amazing content, like the Phrase Vault, which we used to sell for $400, right? All the content from the Phrase Vault is in that app. You don't get the full access like the MB Pros do. Like I said, you don't get the blueprint sentences, which are going to be incredibly valuable, but you won't have the blueprint either. So it won't really make a huge difference to you. And then maybe next year, if we do something similar, hopefully, but honestly, I don't know if we will. Then you maybe have get it next year. But I've just put it in the chat there. So go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to pin. Well, I'm just going to leave it there. So I'm just trying to follow the chat. It's going really fast. But anyway, it's yeah, there we go. It's if you scroll up, you see it's mandarinblueprint.com. You can see the URL there. But for everyone else, go ahead and get access to the app. Sorry, go ahead and get access to MB Pro. Thank you very much for watching. And now I'm going to just walk through the comments here. So let me go through some comments, answer any questions that you guys have left before we finish up here. Yeah, so a lot of people are asking about Elite. So Elite is a program that, you know, it's not everyone even qualifies for, because it's got to be people that have, you know, they're pretty committed to fluency, because obviously we commit to you for, it's pretty much endless, right? It's like, well, you basically pay the fee and then we stick with you until you reach fluency. And so it's not like a subscription or a coaching program or anything like that, but it's not for everyone. It's so for, I recommend you get MB Pro first, make some progress in MB Pro, and then we'll reach out to you to have a call if you sort of qualify. Okay. Yeah, consistency is the key. It is the key. Also, let me just scroll down here. Trying to keep up with all these messages is quite hard. Someone's asking, is this live? It's like, yes, it is live. Oh, and MB Pros, guys. Yeah, I forgot that. I know a bunch of you will be watching this. MB Pros, yes, of course you're going to get access to the app. Just let us calm down after Black Friday and just wait a couple of days, and yes, you'll get access for sure. So we have unlimited access, but if we don't like it, did not reach our goals, we can ask for a refund by November 2026 without any conditions. Correct. Yes. And some people are kind of like, well, that sounds crazy. But here's the thing. People are generally good. And if they feel they've had value, even if it does, like, even if they don't use it as much as they'd like, or maybe it doesn't help them make as much progress as they hoped, right? Even if that does happen, which, you know, usually it doesn't, obviously, but like, people are still like, do you know what? I got $1,000 of value out of this easily, or I got $2,000 worth of value out of this. It was definitely worth the money. And so I'm not going to ask for a refund. You know, people are like, as long as it's worth it to people, they're not going to ask for a refund, you know? And of course there are exceptions. And most of the time it's due to people that have, you know, they have money now, but then later on, and a year later, they're like, oh man, I'm having money troubles right now. And so they ask for refunds and whatever, but that's going to happen. But that's like a tiny amount of people. People are generally good. And if they get value, they get served well, they get good service, and they get a decent product, they're not just going to ask for a refund just because, you know, and plus they lose all their progress, and so it's very rare. It's usually people that literally decide, I don't want to learn Chinese anymore, ever, something like that, or like they have money troubles later on down the line or something. But so if you're already, let me see here. I am an MB Pro member. How can I accelerate my learning? Well, there's a few questions I would ask you for that. If you're already on the course, or let's just say it this way, even if you've just got the course, right? You're one of the people that's getting the Black Friday offer right now, or you've just recently gotten the course. What's the fastest way to go through the course and make progress and get to fluency, right? The fastest way would be to follow the onboarding course inside the Pro community. It's also inside the Light community as well, actually, but it's slightly different inside the Pro one. Follow that and listen to everything I say in that course, because it's basically, I made that. A lot of people haven't watched it because it's quite long, right? And it's just, I want to just get into the learning part, right? But just watch at least the first chapter. It's like a few videos, maybe 20, 30 minutes of content. That will save you a ton of time and get you on the path to efficient, sort of the most efficient path that I could think of. Essentially, the short version is, well done, Zoe. Thanks for buying. And Kataro, well done. Thank you, Dennis, as well. Yeah, so I would, just follow the instructions there, and just briefly, spoiler alert, follow the Kickstarter, complete that along with going through the pronunciation mastery course if you need it, which if you're an absolute beginner, I would at least check that course out. And then start going through the blueprint, start hitting those characters and get to 100 characters as soon as you can. That's when you unlock sentences, level 13. And then start listening to those audio files. You can even start jump ahead, because you don't get drip fed the course. It's all 88 levels. You can just jump around it and just start using now. So you can just jump ahead to the level review section, level 13, download the sentence audio files, and even start listening now before you even get there. But you get more out of it when you get there. And then I would just, as every level, I would just keep listening to more and more of these sentences and reviewing them, just clicking through them. Don't add to your reviews, the comprehension cards, the ones with the Chinese on the front. Just read those sentences every day, listen to them every day. And then once you're done with the Kickstarter, I would continue going through the blueprint and supplement your learning now with the phrase vault, right? The phrase vault is very similar to the Kickstarter, but it just has tons of useful phrases. So that way, just follow the listen and repeat program there whilst building up your characters. Go deep, not broad. So what I mean is, practice all the sentences that you unlock. Practice, not add to your reviews, just read and listen to them, and then add the production flashcards or the retrieval flashcards to your reviews every day. And that is what I would do, because then you get a deep knowledge of the most common characters and words. And once you get to level 37, if you follow that sort of routine, you'll have done a ton of the phrase vault. You've learned a ton of good phrases. You've done a ton of listening and repeating, which is absolutely crucial. Shadowing, etc. Ton of and you'll have learned a ton of characters on a really deep level. So it's way better to learn the most common 1,000 words on a deep level than it is to learn 5,000 words, all like what I did with memrise.com. I learned literally 6,000, 7,000 words, but I didn't really learn them. I just looked at a definition for them. And so, that's what I would do. And then as you got to level 37, you sort of, work your way through the phrase vault. Between level 37 and 57, like the intermediate course, you can start to get more and more into other outside reading and listening content, like podcasts, learner stuff do Chinese pod if you want to sort of supplement your learning. And then also importantly, start getting into native content towards the end of level 50 or 60. You can get into native content earlier. Maybe it's a good idea to do so to sort of hone your listening skills. But there's a ton of work you'll be doing. So, yeah, that's basically what I would do. So, Well done, Jose. Thanks. Any issues, by the way, guys, any issues with logins or anything like that, just go to contact@mandarinblueprint.com. So just reply to any of the emails we send you. That's the contact@mandarinblueprint.com email. They'll handle all support issues. All right. So the app is relatively, like, it's been so far, the web app, if you're having login issues and stuff, just please be patient, because we're only used to providing this to a very small group of people, and now suddenly a lot of people are signing up to it. So we may have slight issues over the next day or two as we sort of figure all this out. So I'd really appreciate your patience there, but don't worry. We're going to, like I said, we have amazing support, and we'll get you sorted out if you have any issues whatsoever. Yeah, someone said busy people get stuff done. I mean, that's true. If you're busy, you'll find that if you'll have way more effective active study time. So even if you feel, do you know what, I could barely scrape together 30 minutes these days, good. That's good. That means those 30 minutes, you're going to really make them count. And then when life maybe chills out a little bit, you're going to be even more off to the races there. Can I get fluent with myself taking your information and your system? Well, to get fluent, you can get a very, very long distance with just the course and the activation techniques that I told you, speaking to yourself, speaking to AI. I believe, and also the flashcards, right? The production flashcards. I believe you can get to fluency, B2 level or above, just with these activities. But here's the thing. You also need practice speaking to real people. And so it's possible to do it without it, but it's not optimal, right? So here's another reason. So like, you'll find that when you speak Chinese, there's all sorts of other factors that are at play that affect how fluent you are. Who you're talking to can make you more nervous. If you're just, like, for example, I'm just talking to my Chinese friend over a beer, I'll be the most fluent I can ever be, right? Because I have no hang-ups about, I can be myself around him. But if I'm talking to my mother-in-law, right, who's a very nice lady, but I just don't understand her at all. She's from the countryside in northern China, and she speaks with a heavy accent. And I'm just like, I've got to be so careful with what I say. I want to be polite. And so my Chinese will be like A1, A2 level with her. And so also speaking in front of people, there's lots of factors involved that will make you worse in the moment. And also there's cultural factors as well, kind of like what I just mentioned. And so you have to we're finding this with our coaching clients as well. Like, a lot of people are actually, we provide all these free lessons, not free, but like included in the program. And part of our job is pushing them to actually do them, because they're nervous about it, and understandably so, right? It makes people nervous. So you gotta talk to native speakers, but you don't have to pay for it necessarily. You could just, do free language exchanges and stuff like that in conjunction with what we give you on the course. That is enough. Combined with, I would also recommend, again, some native content, like to immerse in native content as well. But you don't need to do that for like hours and hours a day, like a lot of the people on YouTube are saying, like, comprehensible input, you could just watch TV and get fluent. It's like, yeah, but it's super inefficient. Like, in my opinion, you should like combine it with what you learn on the course. Yeah, I mean, like, sorry if you can't afford the program right now. This is the lowest price ever, and that we can ever do for this, because of the amount of resources we invest into it. It's just like, really sorry, but like, it's not like it's going away. We'll still be available. Like, the course will still exist in a year's time. Just save up, and we have generous payment plans. Like with the full price course, for example, you can pay $149 a month for 12 months. And someone's asking, how long will this be available? Well, the bonuses are going away fast. We literally have 24 of the coaching left, right? As I say this. But, the actual offer, the Elite web app will be available the whole time, because it's not something, it's a bonus. It's not going to go away until, we're running this until December 1st. Okay, so you do have a little bit of time, but sooner the better, because the sooner you sign up, the more bonuses you get, right? So if you guys need time getting funds together or whatever, that makes sense. You've still got a few days, so don't worry. But your bonuses will go away. Yeah, 1st of December. That's correct. Yeah, Dennis, the pro member community is awesome. I'm in there every day personally. I love it. I like MB Lite as well, but it's just natural to have, like, MB Lite's got like 25,000 people in it, but MB Pro it's got like what, 3,000 people, but it's just so much more engaged. People are so much more involved. The posts are super valuable. I also love the coffee hours. Like, we do a coffee hour once a week in there, and they're getting more and more people as well. I think last time I had like 20 people on there at one time, and everyone gets a chance to talk if you want. And it's just a chance to have some FaceTime with me or Phil and just like solve problems live. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed MB Lite. Thanks, guys. And yeah, again, just to reiterate, anyone who's got MB Pro, you will get access to the MB web app as well. Just give us a couple of days just to get our stuff together, and we'll send it to you. That was going to be a surprise, but obviously I realized that I did forget that a lot of like pro members will be watching this as well. So, yeah, and I'm like, sorry about, I don't mean to be like with the rushing with the bonuses and stuff, but I genuinely talk to my team. I'm like, how many of these can we give away? Because, because we want to also make sure that even if it's free, we still want to make sure that you have a great experience when you do the coaching or when you have the native speaking session. So like, we had a sort of long discussion about it, and 100 is what we can handle. And same with the native speaking sessions. Like, that's a bit easier because those tutors are easier to find than PLTs, personal language trainers, and so there's 200 for those. But exactly, lifetime access, yes, lifetime access. Like, we used to do subscriptions, right? And we might still do a subscription. I'm like at some point in the future in terms of access to MB Pro. But really, our subscription now is coaching. Like, we offer coaching subscription as well as like a side thing. And so I don't, and look, we have enough subscriptions in our lives, right? It seems like everything's on a subscription these days. And a subscription doesn't really work, in my opinion, with a course, because it's kind of a fixed thing. And so a subscription kind of puts this pressure on you. I didn't do my study. I've got to go on holiday or whatever. And I didn't do my study for the last week, and I feel like I've wasted now that month, or wasted, like, it's just a stress that you don't need. Like, learning a language is difficult enough. You don't need like the stress of like payments coming out every month or every year. No. And so once, like, this is I understand what you mean. Like, some MB Lite people are asking, if I have the free version, will I lose access to MB, like to that, like my progress basically, and I'll lose access to that and basically start again from scratch? No, you will not. You will keep access. You'll keep your progress. Again, you're getting access to just the rest of the program. So what you already have access to, including your flashcards and the free stuff, the free part of the blueprint, that's actually the paid program, but just a smaller part of it. And then once you upgrade, you get access to the rest of it. So you do not lose any progress. Don't worry about that. Again, any issues, please go to contact@mandarinblueprint.com. Contact@mandarinblueprint.com is the and Amanda, if you're watching there, could you please make sure that people have access to the email? Just put it in the chat there as well, please. If you can't access, if you just purchased and you're not seeing the courses straight away, just give it 5 minutes. Maybe do a refresh, because a lot of people are, buying right now, and so maybe there's going to be a slight delay. So apologies for that. If there is a delay, just wait 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops, and just refresh a couple of times. And if it's still not there for some reason, then yeah, reach out to contact@mandarinblueprint.com. But sometimes it could take a few minutes to sort of 反应过来, like to actually register. Yeah, so sorry, I forgot about that detail. So if any of you just want to sign up for the free web app, once you've put your details in that page, which I sent you, so mandarinblueprint.com/app, APP, you go to that link, you can get the free web app, right? But you won't get it immediately, because again, we got, as I was saying earlier to some of the MB pros, we have a ton of stuff to do right now. Make sure that we deliver on all these things that we're promising people. And so after the Black Friday promo is over on December 3rd, we'll send you a link with access to it. But that's only for people that show up live. So if you're watching the recording of this, that will have already gone. Someone's asking, I already purchased the phrase vault and pronunciation practice kit earlier this year, but guilty of not following through. Actually doing the courses, I assume you mean. I saw they're included in the Black Friday bonus. So purchasing this, is it still relevant to me? If you don't have MB Pro, yes, because those two courses, like they're great, like the phrase vault, but they are very small, very, very small courses. They're just extra bonuses. They're not even really specifically Black Friday bonuses. They're just sort of one of the many bonuses, one of the many sort of courses included with MB Pro anyway, usually. And so it's really a drop in the bucket compared to the rest of the course content and the MB Pro community and the coaching that you get, as well as the free coaching and the 10 native speaking sessions that you also get with MB when you buy MB Pro today, or during this Black Friday promotion before December 1st. Will you consider a monthly subscription? We've tried monthly subscriptions many times. We find it adds just further unnecessary complexity to our business. Like, oh, what are the churn rates and how, I'm trying to manage that. And I don't think people like subscriptions generally. I know they're cheaper in the short term, but in the long term, Mandarin is like a 1 or 2 year project really for most people. It's at least a 1 year project, maybe 2 or 3 or even longer for most people. So like, we don't want to punish people for being busy basically and taking less time each day, but taking longer to get to their final goal. It's like, here's everything you need. It's a one-time thing, or or installments or what have you. And I think we've sort of met in the middle there. For people that want it cheaper now, we've met in the middle with installment options. And so that's why we've got very generous installment plans. Yeah, I love the good news calls. So we have good news calls with our community members. They run these calls where they just share good news, and it's like it's really positive vibes. And we have community leaders, people in the community who run those, and they do a great job. Arguably better than Phil and myself would do. Not arguably, actually, definitely. Can I go through old material to review if I've already gone through it? I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but you get full access to the entire curriculum for life. So you can do whatever you want. Oh, by the way, okay, so again, some of you like who signed up a long time ago, you just keep an eye on your inbox. You've got a pleasant surprise coming. Thank you. I appreciate it. You've got a great product. I signed up lifetime years ago. Pro. Yeah. Made the pro purchase. Well done, Marlon. Yeah, and if you're not receiving the email again, just hold on. Hold on a couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes. There's probably a lot of demand because it is Black Friday for not just everyone using Kajabi right now, which is our course platform. And so just please bear with us while you wait for your emails, but we don't usually get any major issues with that at all. Usually it's like they do come through, but you have to give it like a few minutes and you should get it soon. Oh, if you can't do the onboarding calls right now, just wait a few weeks. Again, there's no rush, right? There's no rush. We have limited PLTs, and it's going to be a big rush right now because we've had like, almost, 80 people already get it. And so they're definitely going to be booked but just make sure you keep a reminder. Set a reminder to yourself to go and check it like every few days, and there'll be a slot for you somewhere. Just need your patience in the early days because there's so many new members signing up. Yes. So again, with the free web app, for those of you who can't get Mandarin Blueprint Pro today or during this Black Friday offer, you can get for anyone watching live right now, yes, you will get the web app, but we'll actually send you access on December 3rd. Okay. Yeah, Joseph says, forget subscriptions. Yeah, no one wants subscriptions. Not really. Very few people. There's enough subscriptions in our lives. Interested in taking a study abroad in China in September 2028, since I've enjoyed learning Spanish so much before. Is there enough time to start learning Mandarin? Yes. Is there enough time to learn Mandarin between now and 2028? Yes. How should I balance with school? Well, first of all, you don't need to study abroad in China. You can just go to China and with great Chinese that you learn from our course, right? So you have a more like just free. Do not go to those immersion camps or those schools. You do not need to do that. It is a cool experience though, if that's what you want to do, but you could have cool experiences anyway. You could just go on a tour of somewhere cool, spend your money on that instead, but just get good at Chinese on your own or with our courses and with our coaching and stuff like that. And with your own tutors and supplementary materials if you want, but like, do not spend thousands of dollars on immersion programs and school in China to learn Chinese. Please don't do that. Just go to China, have a great time, book a few tours, and you'll make tons of friends that way. And you can just learn Chinese way better way with us. So that's all the questions I have in front of me right now. So thank you guys. I'm going to leave this up just a little bit longer for you. But go ahead and get this if you can, because it is a one-time thing, just special for Black Friday. And I'll leave this, the page will be open for the web app. I think it might have already closed down. I think it might be open for a little bit longer, but it's way better if you just get MB Pro anyway. All right, let me just check one more time here. I think that's it for me. So thank you guys. Thank you, John, for the compliment of my Sean Connery, just real quick. No, we're never going to make Blueprint for a different language ever, as far as I know. No, I'll never say never, but like no chance anytime soon, because like cracking Chinese is a big enough job, and we want to just be the absolute like no-brainer choice, the best choice in the entire Chinese learning market. So that's what we're going to focus all our energy on for the next 5-10 years. Well done, Tom. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you showing up live. Catch you soon.